Joe, could you have dreamed up a better debut for those guys?
No. You think about, we didn't have Austin play last night in Scranton so he could, get a good night's rest. But Judgy found out about midnight and drove here and got here at 6 in the morning to play this game. So I both of them 2 hits, both of them a couple runs, stolen base, good defense. You can't draw it up any better when you call up 2 young players.
How much do you think it helps them relax when they have that type of production in their first at-bats?
Well, I'm sure it gets kind of the weight off. I think everyone who gets called up for the first time, you can't wait to get your first hit and get the baseball. And the fact that we were able to get both was nice. The one bounced back from the stands into the field, and the other one went out in the net in center field, and we were able to get that, and that's pretty special.
Who else? Ron, Dan.
What goes through your mind as you watch the first one pop in and you're trying to figure out if it's fair, and then a few pitches later you see another?
Truly excited for Tyler. I think about what Tyler's been through. He's been through somewhat of a tough road where we were really excited about him, and he went through some wrist injuries, and it took him a while to get back on track. But he went to Double-A, was having a good year and using the whole field, and went to Triple-A and was tearing it up. Someone that was taken off the roster. So to watch that's really nice for him because he's had to fight through some adversity. And I think that's important for players to go through adversity because you're going to go through it here.
Joe, and then the next one, not just a home run, but obviously, Aaron,
special shot.
You've probably seen him hit some long ones before, maybe in Tampa or whatever, but just to see him do that here, only the 3rd person to ever hit it that far in this place, what do you think of?
Well, I think you get excited. I watched him hit one, not last night, but I think it was the night before. And I'm not sure if they were in Scranton or Rochester off the batter's eye, high off the batter's eye there, which appeared to be about 40 feet behind the dead center field wall, and I was like, wow. And basically, he almost hit the same ball, except that one was a little bit left of center field, and this one was to right. And it gets you excited, but you also look at the athleticism, the play he makes going back, the play he makes going forward, how he stayed on balls today. I think about Tyler's first at bat where he gets down in the count, 2 strikes and battles and hits a home run. So besides the hit, I thought they were really good at bats, and that's probably more important.
Meredith.
Joe, what's that dugout like after Judge hits the home run?
Guys are really excited. Really, really excited. And I just, I talked about it early on where there's a group of young players here that are truly excited for each other. And I think everyone kind of fed off of that today. I hear Judgy saying to Tyler, before he goes up to the plate, go do your thing. Those sort of things, how they're really, really pulling for each other. And to see that is special. And I think that, these guys are going to be really good players.
Brendan.
Joe, you saw Judge really struggle in spring training. How is he different?
Well, I think he's made adjustments. I think he probably put a lot of pressure on himself. I think there were a ton of people in his ears anxious to help him, to get him here, to help him carry the torch. And I think he tried too hard, which we saw from Gary Sanchez, and we've seen a much different player up here. So I think, he's made some adjustments, some good adjustments, and he's worked very hard with Tommy Wilson down there. They had a plan. They put it together, the organization and Tommy, and they went to work, and he's hitting breaking balls, he's hitting fastballs, he's hitting everything.
About him trying too hard, is that something you can physically see in his at-bats or in his approach?
Oh, I think so.
The idea of who he is.
Well, no, I think you could see guys overswing. I think you can see guys get extremely frustrated when they make an out. When you think about it, if you play every day, you're going to make 400 outs. But they take it harder. And I just think he was trying to please everyone in a sense where there were a lot of people talking to him, and that can be difficult for a young player because a lot of people want to help you. But you have to be able to say, this is my plan and this is where I'm going.
In his exit interview in spring training, did you tell him?
We talked about all that. You know, when you get there, make sure you have your plan and you go to work. And, you know, there's not going to be so many people talking to you. Because I think, you know, not only are there a ton of coaches in spring training, but there's also a ton of players that want to help. You know, and that's a good thing. We want that. But sometimes it can get confusing.
To your left, Chad.
Joe, in these 4 wins, I think you've hit 10 home runs, and the oldest person who hit one is Austin Romine. Is the feeling different in there when it is a team driven this much by these young kids? It's not just that they've come here, but these guys have immediately kind of taken off and pushed the team.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it today. We hit 5 home runs today, and the oldest player was 26. And you don't see that very often. But, you know, we've talked about our young players for a couple of years that they were getting closer, and I talked about it around the deadline. There's guys that are come up, we feel, that are going to help us. And you're seeing that. And, of course, it feels different because there's not a huge track record with them, but you get excited when you see them do really good things like they did today.
Anyone else? Barry.
Back a couple of things. Back to your statement about the kids pulling for each other. I imagine them growing up and playing with each other in the system is part of that, but I'm also figuring there's an organizational philosophy behind that too, that you want carried with you up to the major leagues.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's something that Gary Dembo has instituted down there, and it's about the character of the players that we are drafting, that Damon is looking at, and how we're trying to raise these players. You know, and they have that captain's camp, and all these guys go to that captain's camp, and it's just, I think it shows in the way they handle themselves and conduct themselves.
And it seems like an organizational philosophy that now you're just drafting and picking up big players because everyone who comes in here is bigger than the last one.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that. We brought up some big boys. You know, Tyler Austin's probably 225, 230 pounds, and he looks tiny next to Aaron Judge. Sanchez is 225 probably too. I mean, that's what you're seeing with a lot of clubs. I mean, these are big kids that are athletic. You know, and that's happening in all sports. It's not just ours.
Okay, thank you, Joe.